Welcome home, Raiders. Tonight, we beat the race to world first. We did it. It's not really what you think, but we'll get into it. This is CTR number 379.
You're listening to Convert to Raid.
Convert to Raid.
The podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
From the CTR Command Center and Broadcast Emporium in Sacramento, California. Today is February 4th, 2020, and thank you so much for joining us from the world of Warcraft and beyond. Obviously, something happened with our video for the Twitch stream. I will fix this in post for everybody that's watching it on YouTube. The job never ends. Thanks for joining us. And as always, we have the players. They are here. Let's see. From the future. Now, I guess. From the most ahead in the future, it is Warcraft Stats. Hello, Stats.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Like a pair of healing monks. You are missed.
Oh, that's very nice.
Isn't that good?
That is good.
You haven't missed that. You haven't missed that.
Jeez, no, I haven't missed that at all. Also, now from the West Coast, it's the lovely and talented Thyst. Hello, Thyst.
Lovely and talented?
Well,
Wow.
I've called you that before.
I don't recall. You go ahead and call me that a bunch more times.
All right. Well, welcome to the West Coast, Thyst.
Thank you. It's windy and cold. Didn't see that coming.
It's not that cold.
I'm soft now. Delicate flower.
Yes, that may be true. That may be true. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to Twitch chat. Welcome everybody out there in the IRL, as they like to say. I guess the kids are saying that something. Anyway, we've got a show that has a bunch of catching up to do. We have a bunch of catching up to do with the Ny'alotha stuff, with the Mythic Race to World First. We have a bunch of catching up to do with the Race to LA, as I hashtagged it on my Twitter account, or as Thyst said, it was
Yeet Across America.
The Yeet Across America. While Thyst and I tried to race across the USA essentially from sea to shining sea.
Yeah, both were very shiny.
Right. They are both very shiny. Yes.
I can't confirm.
And we'll get more into that. Plus, we have a major announcement for the show, and so I hope that you guys will stick around through all of this stuff that we have to get through. But we plan on talking all about the Mythic Race to World First and our big adventure for sure. But first, let's catch up on what's been going on, and I'm going to talk to Stats here. Stats,
Hey,
how was last week? How was the last couple of weeks, really? Because we didn't have a show last week.
We didn't have a show last week. I've missed my friends.
Yeah.
You guys abandoned me on your massive adventure across America, and left me in the colds of Northrend. But I've just been carrying on as normal. I went and raided with my new friends at Catalina Wine Mixer.
Yeah, those guys are great.
We're now 8 out of 12, Pat.
I know.
We blitzed through those 4 bosses. We didn't have any Boomkim DPS holding us back.
That's true.
So we were able to get through to the 4 difficult bosses, which we're tackling this week.
Yep.
And everything else has been Race to World First. So whatever has been going on in life, I've had Race to World First in the background on a screen somewhere.
Yeah. And
it's been excellent. The content for this particular race has been they've done such a good job, both method, complexity limit, all the other guys who are involved in this race. There is such good, well-produced content. It's been a really good race so far, and it's not over. I'm looking forward to the next couple of days when we'll see who the winner finally is.
It's not, and we were keeping an eye on it for other reasons. So well, I mean, number one, we were interested in seeing how the progression was going, right? And I think that Thyst, you and I were both like, hey, you know what? Limit has got a real chance this time to beat Method. And they have proven themselves.
Yeah.
Just in watching numbers, really.
Yeah, I'm all in on Limit this time, and I feel like even if, like, knock on wood, even if they don't win, like even if Method does manage to beat them, Limit really proved themselves again up until the last boss. Like they were smoking everybody. They were moving, and it was so great to see. And like, you know, as we were traveling across America, like the only thing that I was checking my phone for were Limit updates, because I wanted to see them progress.
Yeah.
So
I kept on looking to it because my whole deal was on Twitter anyway. I was like, okay, who's going to win? Is it going to be the race to LA or is it going to be the race to World First? So we had two races going head to head against each other. And as it turns out, the race to LA, actually beat the race to World First. Yeah. So we did it, everybody. We did it. It's a dumb contest, I realize, but still.
Hey, we won. So
it was close.
Who's dumb now? Not us.
It was really close because I mean, we were sitting. The last day of our trip was Limit already had a full day on us because they were on that last boss, and we were like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if Limit had gotten it before we got there.
No. I wouldn't have been mad at either, but
still feels.
I honestly thought that with you guys being 6 days on the road, your sanity would have been higher than theirs, but there we go. Or not higher, lower.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, sanity was definitely lower. I think overall it was lower. Let's talk a little bit about the trip. And by the way, if you guys are in Twitch chat or if you guys stop by the Twitch VOD afterwards, we may be doing a little bit of a show and tell type of thing. I have some pictures that I can show to the stream, and we can kind of talk through some of the trip anyway.
Yeah.
Could be kind of fun, right?
Or it won't be, but there's only one way to find out.
Right, and that is to join in on the after show.
Yes.
Really. So Thyst, I know that this was kind of, small move for you.
Oh, yeah. Just from one coast to the other across the entire country with all my earthly possessions, not counting the stuff I left at my mom's house in Canada when I left, but
right.
And 2 cats and a dog. Yeah. Easy. Easy.
It was great. So we had, I got there on, when did I get there? Tuesday. I got there a week ago.
Yep.
Oh my God.
A week ago today.
Yeah, a week ago today. And I got there early in the morning after taking a red-eye flight out to the East Coast, and I had about a half an hour sleep.
Yeah, you were tired.
That's where we start the story.
Yeah.
And Thyst doesn't drive, so I'm the driver.
Yeah. Yeah, so I packed up my U-Haul and we left and we drove and drove and drove.
Yep. And it was kind of the same thing as the Race to World First. We had 12 bosses ahead of us. We had New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and California. And we made it. We beat the Race to World First. So
yes, and I'm a hotel enthusiast, and we stayed at Quality Inn, a La Quinta, a Ramada, another La Quinta, and then a Super 8. Yeah,
the Super 8 was actually the best one.
It was actually really nice. It was right next to a Carl's Jr.
This is no sponsorship, by the way.
I know, but if Carl's Jr. wants to sponsor me, that's fine. I had 2 last night, 2 Carl's Jr.'s.
And she's vegan, everybody.
They have Beyond Meat there, so I'm getting those in.
Yeah. So
they're gonna call me Carl's Jr.
Wait, what?
Is that how it works? I don't know.
That really hurts. But we covered in those 6 days that we were on the road. We covered almost 2,800 miles. We had our highest elevation in Colorado. Go figure, at about 11,000 feet, or about 3,400 meters above sea level for those guys.
I got sick immediately Like everybody's
She
like,
did.
oh, you're gonna get what's it called? Altitude sickness.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. That's not a thing. That's witchcraft. That's stupid. That's like holistic. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
But then as soon as we got up there, like I felt like I was gonna die. All the blood rushed to my fingers. I felt nauseous. I got headache. I got a dry mouth. The room was spinning. It was awful.
Yeah. It was.
I'm not a mountain girl.
You were not having fun. The cats were definitely not having fun.
No, the cats were like, all things considered, like my cats are amazing. But that was the day that one of them pooped in his box in the car.
Yeah. That was a fun day.
It's okay.
And what else was? Oh, but Dwight, your dog, your pug,
Yes.
pug hybrid, right?
Yeah, I'll get him.
Oh yeah, go get him. He actually was a champ the entire time, so he was great. I have so many pictures of Dwight. I really love Dwight. He's amazing. And there he is on camera. Aww.
Good boy.
He is a good boy. So, I don't know. It was a lot of fun though. It was very interesting seeing the country fly by, and I've done at least portions of that before. But this was your first and maybe last time seeing some of that stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to go through Indiana again.
We had problems in Indiana.
Yeah, that was great. I think one of the best parts about the whole thing was like the Rockies were beautiful, absolutely. But as an East Coaster Canadian, like Utah and Arizona and Nevada just blew my mind, because that's cowboy stuff, like the rocks were like red and cactuses and stuff. That was crazy.
And that's what she was saying. That's what she was saying.
Supposed to be isn't Utah like the weird looking place? Like it's just totally different to anywhere else.
Yeah,
it seemed like it.
Utah really is very different from everything else, especially even if you go like from the north of Utah to the south. I mean, it's very different from even that. So it's a very unique state in that way, I think.
Yeah.
And it's super pretty. But it's just kind of one of those things, because you have the salt flats over by Salt Lake City, and then in the south you have like all this really red orange rock. It looks really, really cool. So
yeah, it was blowing my mind. Like I saw a tumbleweed. It wasn't tumbling, but it was there.
Yep.
And in Nevada, we stopped to get gas, and I was walking into it was like a casino, convenience store, like novelty store. I don't know. So I'm walking in there, and this older dude is like walking out. He's got ponytail. He's kind of shuffling a little bit, and we're passing each other, and for whatever reason, I don't know, he just looks at me, and in passing, he says in this little accent, "I eat too much," and then he just keeps walking, and it's just like the cutest, funniest thing, and that was a good time.
Nice.
I knew him.
The Ferganter says, Thyst, try Arizona. We did. We were actually in Arizona for a little bit. Like
That place blew my mind.
that was incredible.
It was beautiful.
So incredible. Like
This country is really, really gorgeous.
yeah. I'm glad you got to see it, Thyst.
Me too. Thank you for taking me.
Yeah, no problem. You do what you can for your friends. So I had some time. You had some money, so we made the best of it.
Yes.
We made it across.
This one had. Yay, we did it.
So we did it. We did it. And now you're in your new place, all set up.
Yep.
How do you like LA so far?
Love it. It's great. Like I visit here as often as I can every year. So it's the fact that I don't have to leave in a couple days hasn't hit me yet. So that's good.
Right.
But yeah, and I'm living with Platinum Wow from YouTube.
Yeah.
He had his first stream today, and it went really well. So
I saw that. I saw
yeah.
that. And he was doing a good job, and he was talking to the crowd, and it seemed to be already on his way to.
Oh yeah, he's a natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's cool living with a YouTube star. Whatever. And obviously we're both into WoW, so once we get unpacked and everything, like this apartment is going to look like little baby Blizz.
Yes, it will.
The sequel.
Yes.
Blizzard HQ, the sequel.
Right. And so now you have to get all of your other stuff, all of your other things in order while you can.
Yep.
Because you have a new gig,
I do.
Right?
I do have.
Right?
Yes.
So we talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago where you had a new gig, but now you have another new gig. This is not the same new gig that we were talking about before. It is a different new gig. Do you want to tell people what you are going to be doing?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Oh, everybody brace yourselves. So what are you going to be doing?
Okay, so I got hired at Blizzard.
Look at that. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm going to be an associate content manager for World of Warcraft Esports, and I start on Monday.
Nice. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you, and I know that this was a process, and we were like before the holidays. You had mentioned that was kind of a thing, and
yeah.
Now it's a real thing.
Yeah, it was something that was set in motion quite a number of months ago. It was a process.
Well, it's like you have to go through a bunch of interviews and you have to do a whole thing, and
6 of them. But no, it was all worth it. Obviously, this is what I've been trying to do for going on 6 years now. But the thing is, like, I was gonna move out here regardless, and I kind of got confirmation about me getting the position while I was already planning to leave. So, I mean, that's cool.
Well, so the entire time I was encouraging you to go out to the West Coast only because I knew that I hoped that the Blizz thing went through, right?
Yeah.
But you also had the other thing, and I'm like going, well, you should just, if you have to move, just move out to the West Coast. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. And that's what.
And now you're like an hour away by plane for me, which is awesome. I really like that. So, that's very nice. I'm very happy for you. However, that does mean that Thyst cannot do this show anymore.
Yeah, pretty much can't do it.
Unless the hand of God comes in and says you can do the show, we're planning on you not doing the show.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I've been doing content creation exclusively about Blizzard for 5 years, and I don't think that I will be able to continue to do that. So we don't know, but I'm betting that it's probably a no. Which is, it's.
Plus, I mean, you've got to get your feet under you. You have to.
Yeah, like I have a lot of work to do because we got some WoW Esports coming up this season, and it's going to be legitness. You know what I'm saying? And I got to content manage my butt off.
Yes, you do, because I turned to the esports page for World of Warcraft, and the AWC page is still out of date. So you gotta do that one.
I'm getting it. I'm working on it.
First thing. I mean, Monday.
Yeah. Just give me a second, why don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
So, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Yes. Stats, you seem very quiet right now. Why are you so quiet?
I'm sad.
Oh no!
Please don't be sad. I'm gonna cry.
Don't make this cry.
I'm sad, but I'm happy at the same time.
I'm sad and I'm happy at the same time, but I'm actually more happy than I am sad because I know, for me anyway, for my selfish self, that I know that Thyst and I will remain tight buds, and
of course,
we may do something in the future. Who knows?
I think that we should.
We were talking about doing a Florida Man podcast where we just talk about what Florida Man is up to in the news.
Yeah, why not? And let's bring fake Canadian on with us. Why not?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure. That sounds
that's
good.
you, Stats. You're fake Canadian.
I'm fake Canadian, but you know what? I just want to say, above all else, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
See, look at that.
That is a huge achievement to work for an organization that you've wanted to work for such a long time. I'm really proud. That's awesome.
Stop. Oh my God.
Well, I'm proud too, but I'm going to say it in a funny way so that we don't start crying.
Stop.
How about that? But I mean, that's really, really cool. And so you get to hang out with, well, I don't know if you get to hang out with them, but the likes of the likes of Taryn Gregory and all the wonderful people over at Blizzard Entertainment that we have gotten to know over the years. And I'm also kind of jealous.
You're jelly?
Yeah.
Of moi?
Yes.
Nice. Now I've got something on you.
Yes, absolutely.
Get bit, Patrick
So
Crane.
invite me to all the Blizz parties, damn it.
Fine.
So I drove you across the country.
I know. I'm forever in your debt. You can have my kidneys. You're my +1.
Yes,
Fine.
Randy the Deluxe and Jab and gosh, who else?
Yeah, I'll just
Josh
go hang
Allen.
out with Jab on my first day.
Sure, why not? He's a very friendly guy.
Jab.
And Ian and all the rest of the gang. All the
Ian
gang.
and the gang.
Yeah, Ian and the gang. That's everybody. So
that's like the WoW team. It's just like a sign that says Ian and the gang.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, Stats and I have talked about what the future of CTR is going to be. We are still working on it, but I am hopeful that I think we've got something that we can both be proud of for the show, and something that is fairly turnkey. And I hope that you guys really like it when we get it going. But however, February is a very, 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 very busy month for us. So February's kind of screwed right now. That's the way it goes.
So you're saying, like, for February, don't really expect anything from CTR too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it won't come out until later February if it does, and so because we have to kind of redo some things, we have to rethink about how the show does things, because we're gonna move to just Stats and myself, and I think we're gonna invite people to come into the mix, and we'll see exactly what ends up happening, but it does mean that the show is going to change.
Yes.
And I know how much you guys like change.
I hate change.
Right. Everybody hates change. But I think you will like this stuff. Right, Stats?
I think we've got something that's pretty exciting. So as much as I am, it's difficult to come into a podcast, gel with you guys who are my friends, and then immediately have someone bail on us like a traitor.
Wow.
But
hey, wait, hold on a sec. I will say,
proud of you.
I will say this. I will say this. She does play Horde.
She does play Horde, yes.
You know.
But it's in all seriousness, it's been really fun to be part of something. And I wish that it had gone on a little bit longer, but there is no other reason. There's no better reason I can think of than breaking that up and getting on with something that's a huge achievement. So I think what we've discussed, Pat, I think it's going to be a fun change for CTR, and I'm hoping that we're going to see some. I think a different content that's really going to get people interested, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope it brings something different to not just to this show, but to Warcraft podcasting just in general. And I think that we're onto something. I don't know exactly if it's the.
No, you are. I'm not going to be on it, so I can toot your horns for you. It's going to be great. You guys are gonna. It's going to be so good.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and like.
You're the hype train.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm hype about it.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it. And like, you guys are so good together. And I've seen you guys, you're flirting at BlizzCon last year.
Yeah. The real bromance going.
Yeah. You got some rapport. It's going to be wonderful.
It should be good. It should be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. And once again, Thyst, congratulations on everything for you, for your IRL, and moving forward with your career with Blizzard. Now, if I would have said this 4 years ago when you were starting Lagging Balls, what would you have said?
I wouldn't have believed you, and I would have freaked out because Pat Crane was talking to me.
Sure. But I'm so glad that you're a part of the company that we all love, and And I think that, especially with the esports slant on things, especially with WoW esports stuff, I think that you're going to kill it. So, and we'll talk a little bit about esports at the end of the show as well to test your knowledge.
Oh, I have no idea of anything right now.
No, we're not testing anything. We're not testing
Okay,
anything,
good.
so don't worry about it.
I was literally stuck in a car with Pat Crane for like 6 days. I have no idea.
Yeah, I know, and that couldn't have been any fun for you, so I apologize for that one.
It actually was.
What?
Pat Crane drives like a madman.
I try.
He's all over the road. He's honking at people, screaming at them, flipping them off.
There were 2 honks the entire time. One on the East Coast, one on the West. Because
he almost
both
threw
coasts,
his Carl's.
Guess what? Both coasts drive like idiots. All right. So we're going to move on for now to World of Warcraft news.
A clever strategy.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the Race to World first. Now, we only saw it from the truck, from the moving truck.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, and sometimes from the hotel, right?
Yes.
So Stats, you're going to have to lead us through this.
Yeah, could you please help us?
Yeah, could you please help us? And what are we doing now? Who's ahead? What's going on?
I honestly, I've had the luxury of not being in a U-Haul for the last 6 days. So I've had the Race to World First on a background screen somewhere at some point, whether I've been at work or at the kitchen, or it's just been there. And there's a couple of things I'll say. Firstly, we have a couple of insanely good streams right now. Method have just gone all out with an incredible setup, and Complexity Limit have done the same. They've got an incredible setup too. So they've basically been running these dual streams, which have been competing for Twitch viewers, and I think people like myself and others, people who are really enthused with the Race to World First, have had both of them running at the same time. It's been interesting because we've had an EU guild Method who have won everything for the last, I don't know how long now. And then we've had Complexity Limit who have been nipping at their heels for the last couple of tiers, but for the first time, I think. They did go ahead last tier, but Method caught them up. But they've led the way all the way through. The other thing I'll say is there's a couple of other guilds who I think we're now 5 teams at 11 out of 12. I think realistically, one of the top 2 teams is going to take it. But Complexity Limit have just been that little bit ahead, and in fact, they did a full re-clear today, having spent. I think they got down to about 45% on the last boss on Ny'alotha, and then did a full re-clear today, and easily too. Really didn't have too many hang-ups.
That was the thing that really kind of shocked me, because I was actually home today, so I could watch some of it, and it was a full re-clear with. I mean, it took very little time.
Well,
they did, and they have had to just pull out all stop. I mean, Method are a powerhouse. They are an absolute powerhouse when it comes to WoW esports. They are at the point now where they win everything. They win Arena, Mythic Dungeon, Invitationals. They are the powerhouse, and Complexity have set themselves up. They've got their own space. They've got their own group of people who are they're working with the community to get. They're actually tweeting out requests for BOEs they'll buy. They are doing everything they can to win this race, and they've just led the way. I am fingers crossed. I think they're going to do it. I really do. They're down to about 25% now. Method are tucked up in their little beds, and they might wake up tomorrow. Without it. So we'll see. But this is where it's at for me. Nothing else enthuses me more than this Race to World First. I look forward to every tier, and there hasn't been a better one. The casters, people like Preach, Bay, others have done such a good job just presenting it. Yeah,
Tattles. They were over on the Complexity stream. They were cracking up something fierce. I think
that's the best part is when the casters start losing it a little bit.
I like watching them filling time. I mean, there was a stage today. I was working, and they were trying to fill time. I looked over, and there's Preacher's got, for some reason, I don't know why, he's got 100 marshmallows in his mouth. He's trying to put more marshmallows in his mouth than the other co-host, and that's what it comes down to. There's only so much about the bosses they can talk about before they start to lose their minds. But I think we're into the last sort of, I'll say 24, 48 hours now. I think Inzoth or Ny'alotha is going down, and I think Complexity Limit are going to do it, guys.
Well, let's hope. And so the way that it stands right now is, according to Raider.io, is Complexity Limit is first, Method is second, Peace is third, Alpha fourth, and a version fifth. And then from there, it's some very familiar names as well: Fat Shark, yes, Exorcist, Skyline, Big Dumb Guild, and so on. And so, I mean, we're seeing some of these very, very extremely awesome guilds downing these bosses, and Limit really did kind of open it up when they got to 11 of 12. I mean, it was incredible. We were like, oh my God, because I think Method was like 8 or 9 of 12 at the time. Yeah. They were starting to catch up, and so it was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And they were sitting at that number one spot for like a day. That is a good sign for Complexity Limit, so...
Yep.
Yeah, they had a good start, but it's not just that they had that little bit of a head start or they sat ahead, but the way they've gone about dealing with the bosses has been pretty impressive. I mean, there was big hang-ups on Carapace that the Complexity Limit just seemed to overcome more easily. There was Method, and I forget the boss. I'm not going to try and guess which one it was, but there was one they were very, very hung up on, and they couldn't. But the Complexity were able to deal with it. So. We'll see. This is what this race needs. It did need competition, and I think Method and the casters on Method's behalf as well. I think they know that if we're going to take this into the next expansion, and at times there's 60, 70,000 people on Twitch watching this. Yeah. It's you need this competition, and and there's, I mean, the three of us sitting here, we're all on the US server. It'd be nice to see a US team win it.
It would be really great. And, just like seeing on Raider.io, the listing that they have for these different bosses for the different downings and stuff like that, it was kind of amazing. I'm always impressed by how quickly these guys down some of these mythic encounters. Like the first 3 bosses were nothing for these guys. Yeah,
it's almost like it's a job or something.
Right. And even then, it was like taking maybe an hour on a boss. That's a few different pulls. It's not like a ton of time for these guys. 1 hour is no big deal, and then they would down the next one in another hour, and then they would down the next one maybe a couple hours later.
Yeah.
They seem
I'm really enjoying how corruption has thrown a complete wrench into all of this. Like there's pulls that they've done where people have got insane amounts of corruption just to do the DPS they need to do to get to next phases, and they're looking for BOEs that have lots of corruption on it for just that reason. It's a really interesting dynamic that they've added to this tier specifically. I'm not sure if we're going to see a corruption type of mechanic next expansion. I don't think we will, but it's been interesting to see that added in there over the last sort of week of content, because there's a balance between the DPS that people can pull and then the absolute chaos that is having tentacles and eyes and big purple patches on the floor that's being thrown into it. So it's I don't want it to end, but it's going to, and I think we're a day or two away.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there were a lot of different articles about, is Ny'alotha even doable right now? With just the numbers, just the flat numbers that you need to down this encounter, is that even possible? And a lot of people are like, I don't know.
I think that was the discussion that was up today, and I think that's why Complexity Limit did the reclear. And I think they're down to 25% now, but it's going to be an interesting question for Method when they get up tomorrow in Europe time, and they have to try and work out what their intentions are. Because
isn't that what happens every time though? Like the real race, like quote unquote, the real race doesn't start until the last boss, and then they realize that they just don't have enough DPS and have to go and reclear until they get it to bring up their eye levels. And then wasn't there like a secret mythic phase that they were expecting, and then like a mechanic that took away from DPS, like time-wise, and now they have to like raise their DPS even more to account for it.
Yeah. So I mean, so a couple of things happened with the Ny'alotha encounter, as far as I'm led to believe. Right. First of all, they changed the mechanic in Mythic so that the mind guys, they could spawn anywhere, but then they would cast on the run, and it was just like this big thing that Blizzard just hot fixed along the way, and they've had to deal with now for a while. So there's a bunch of different little wrenches in this system. So
it should be, though. It shouldn't be easy. Like this is what we want, like, and every time there's a world first race, it gets even more and more exciting. And so many people are stepping up, and, with Limit and Method being neck and neck yet again, but like more on the Limit side this time, like it's pretty much the most exciting thing. And the fact that it lasts so long, like that's good content. This is exciting. It's and I love the way that Method sort of led the way as far as what the broadcast would be like, and bringing on faces from the community that to not only host and cast, but to just show up randomly. And now Complexity Limit is doing it at the Complexity facility in Texas, and they hired a bunch of really great people, and it's a competition, but it's also a massive celebration of just WoW culture in general. And the fact that it lasts so long and people are just so interested in it, and the fact that it keeps getting better and better, like this bodes so well for like the future of this esport.
Yeah, the live streams for sure, those have been something to watch, I think, for the entire WoW community. I mean, and again, we've said it before, but years ago when we started this show, the only way that we could check into the race to the world first is by refreshing WoW progress. That was it.
Yeah. And people were still really excited to do that back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were like, oh man, this is so great. We're watching the whole thing unfold before our eyes as we refresh the page. No, now we're actually watching it live as we go through the thing, and we can actually see players' streams, and we can know exactly what's going on in their minds, and we can kind of hear it, we can listen in on their strats from time to time, and try to figure out how they really deconstruct a fight, and that is pretty cool too. And I know that there were obviously this year there were a couple of hiccups, as there always are, because there's never enough testing on these mythic bosses, because they're mythic bosses and you just can't get all of that stuff on the PTR. Like they're
hard.
Well, like the whole Ny'alotha thing where Blizz despawned all Ny'alothas everywhere in NA. They despawned the entire last boss for a while because Limit discovered that there was something wrong, and Blizz said, "Just cut the feed," and so Ny'alotha went away for a little while. That was an interesting moment.
That's how you beat an old bot god. Just cut it off at the source.
Just despawn it.
Yeah, just turn the servers off.
Yeah, exactly. So that was fun. Plus, wasn't there something else? And then there was a Raw Den reset thing as well.
Yeah, there's the same drama that there's every year. There's one team to beat something, and they beat it, and they still decide it's a bit too hard, and they nerf it a little bit, and then the other team, and then a couple more teams beat it a little more easily.
Yeah,
and I think Complexity Limit can say they beat the hard version of Raden, while it was then.
And then everybody else was like cheesing the reset somehow with especially with Warlocks.
But it wasn't. I mean, it didn't end up becoming a big issue boss. So I think. As long as there's limited drama on Ny'alotha itself, it should be a fairly clean race. But you're going back to your point, Pat. I think, looking at a few years ago when GM of Method SCO said they'd never stream anything like this, it's giving away too much. It's to where we're at now, I think.
Unless there's ad money in it, of course, unless there's some sort of sponsorship or something like that, then we could do it. That would be fine.
Yeah, I don't think anyone on that Method team as well is begrudging the challenge that Complexity Limit are bringing in this tier, and I think personally, I think the entire community and people that surround Race to World First are going to benefit if Complexity Limit do win this, and they have got the best opportunity they've ever had to do it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing more about this and watching the streams now that I'm safely in my home. No longer...
Away from me? Is that a jab at me?
It's not really a jab at you. No, that's fine. But now that I can actually, number one, get some sleep, and number two, watch the streams on my computer, then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So there. Anything else on Race to World First you guys want to talk about?
No.
Okay.
Just watch this space. It's going to go down soon here.
Yep.
Exactly. And once again, we're probably going to be off next week. But congratulations to Limit for winning the Race to World First. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Yeah! Congratulations. Those guys really did it. Or Method. Could be Method.
Or that too.
Either way. So we've got a couple of other things for World of Warcraft, and then we'll talk War 3. We will talk War 3 because I think it needs to be talked about, right? Let's talk first a little bit about another little snafu that happened over the last week or whatever. Apparently, so remember those charity blades that Blizz was offering up?
Yeah. For a lot of money.
Yeah, for a lot of money. Well, it turns out that not all of them made it safely to their destinations. A little bit of poor packaging and other things meant that these server blades, they were a little
broken,
jumbled,
busted.
Yeah. So
they arrived late and busted.
Yeah. So Blizz is trying to fix it. How are they trying to fix it?
Oh, I don't.
They're going to take a whole bunch of current servers offline and send those blades over.
Yeah.
All the Ny'alotha ones.
All the Ny'alotha servers, yeah.
All the ones that are currently hosting Ny'alotha fights. They're gonna turn those off, and then they're just gonna send them to the new. Replacements. But they will be doing replacements or refunds for those blades for those guys that got those, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's delicate cargo, man. Like you always, when you're ordering things that are made of glass and dreams.
Glass and dreams.
Yeah, it's basically like ordering an artifact in the mail.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But
I mean, it is ordering an artifact in the mail.
Yeah, I guess it really is. You're right.
I mean, I've seen Indiana Jones a number of times, and those things break.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes there's snakes and giant boulders.
Yeah.
And then like a whole table of different cups, and you have to drink out of the right one, and you die. Remember that part? That part scared me as a little kid. I was easily frightened, Patrick.
No, the dude who reached in and grabbed your heart, that's the dude that scared me.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
man.
went for it.
While he was chanting something that I couldn't understand, and it was very low and right into your chest. Oh,
yeah, like, ow. Could you imagine how much that would be annoying?
And then all the alligators at the bottom of that ravine or whatever. It's, oh, jeez.
And then all your skin melts off.
Oh, no. All right, let's get back on task here. Because we have to talk about something else, not just another artifact, although maybe it is an artifact. War 3. War 3 Reforged had some problems. And the internet talked about them. incessantly.
The internet said something about a problem.
Yes,
They did their job. They did their work.
They did.
Wow.
They did more than their job and more than their work. I think that there was a lot of outrage. And since I was kind of out of the loop, Stats, do you understand what's going on with the I don't know, the grudge match that is the players versus War 3 on this?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
They released something that wasn't quite ready. So the Blizzard standard is we'll release it when it's ready. They did the first bit as far as they released it, but the second bit when it was ready, they didn't do. So there was some issues with Warcraft 3 when it released, and the internet does what the internet does, and it sort of it definitely churns up the issues. But I'm as big a Blizzard fanboy as you can get. In fact, there's not a couple of days go by and someone will call me a shill, and I remain the shilliest of shills out there. But they dropped the ball a little bit on this one. They really did. And a combination of things, cinematics that were promised that didn't happen, things that were advertised when it was released in 2018 that didn't happen, bugs, a variety of different things that could have gone better. And then that was all wrapped up into refunds that didn't necessarily happen. That was issues with people on forums who were saying you should get a refund from those guys getting shut down. Lots of things that really, weren't great for Blizzard. Not great optics, and unfortunate. So. And as the nicest possible fan of Blizzard, that's probably the best account that you'll hear of how Warcraft 3 went down. If you go to some other more influential influencers on the internet, they do break it down pretty well. And people like Bellular and others who've sort of put their opinion out there. There's a lot that they say that I don't necessarily disagree with. I think this could have gone better. And as a big Blizzard fan, I'm not someone that spews up with rage, but it's like your dad, right? It hurts more. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, and that's where I'm at with this.
The good news for those guys that are disappointed is that Blizzard is offering automated refunds on War 3. So you can get a refund for that. That's at least one thing that you can do if you are disappointed. And by the way, this doesn't mean that you can't have fun with War 3 at all. It's just I think that there were a bunch of things that were promised that weren't given, and there were some real problems with some of the user end agreements stuff and like with mapping and all that. Plus. They took down the original War 3, and that is a problem for a lot of people because now they can't play the original version of it unless you have the discs in a LAN setting. So all of those things put together, it's just kind of bad news all around, and that's War 3 for you.
And this isn't. There's nothing. There's not a controversial opinion here. I mean, some of the blue posts on this have been quite quite apparent with describing these issues and owning them. And owning them is one thing. Backing the train back up that track is going to be very difficult for Blizzard in this instance, and it's unfortunate,
especially because they didn't change their advertising to reflect the changes that were in the game. So of course now people are questioning some other things with that whole scenario, and is this the new way that Blizzard is going to be doing things? And I hope that that's not the case.
No, of course not.
Well, one would definitely hope. Now, Thyst, you're the shilliest of shills. Of course you are. Now that you're an employee and all.
I've never been called a shill, but I have been called an apologist.
Yes, you're that too. But that's how you get the gig. Right? I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all it is. And I'm not even gonna ask your opinion because I don't want you to answer this at all.
I'm excited for everything to blow over as it always does. Blizz will fix it. things will be better in a couple weeks. It'll be all fine.
Yeah.
And I'm just really looking forward to playing it because I love W3 and I'm gonna stream it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love it because that was the game, like not 3, but the original one, the original Warcraft. Like that was my game when I was a baby, you know, like that's what I was playing on my dad's work laptop because he'd bring it home and I would always be a peon, like an orc. I loved being an orc because I was already a human. And like, you know, even back then, little baby, tiny little Thyst was ticked off because, you know, she was living in this timeline where, you know, I'm actually an alliance race, IRL, forever. And there's nothing I can do about it. Like, how cruel is that? Why does life have to be that way? Like, that's the real issue here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to actually play that this week a little bit because I have it as well. So it'll be interesting to see what it actually, how it looks. I mean, because we weren't able to play it last week. So, you know.
Yeah, I was playing the beta a lot. I played it on stream as well. And the only thing I could play was against people, and I did not fare well against others in that game.
Right. That's okay. Well, why don't we switch topics and we'll talk a little bit about Blizzard Esports.
You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with PvP?
Yeah, so first of all, big announcement was last week or the week before, where they were talking about YouTube is now going to be the streaming for all Blizzard Esports. So they're moving away from Twitch and they're moving to YouTube now, which is different.
Very. It's a whole new frontier.
And you have to learn it all next week.
Woo!
Yeah. But it's like a 2 or 3 year deal with YouTube Gaming, so we'll be able to figure out exactly what that means and how that's going to look and everything like that. And yeah, so you know,
I'm excited. It's going to be weird because it's going to be the same esports without the Twitch culture that we're accustomed to,
right?
And hopefully we can build some kind of YouTube gaming culture right quick, and hopefully it's really fun, and I think that it will be because, you know, YouTube is a major player in social media and online broadcasting, and I don't know, I mean, in a lot of ways this makes a lot of sense and it could be really, really exciting.
Yeah, it very well could be. And we had our first real test of it this last weekend with the Hearthstone Masters Tour #1 in Arlington, Texas. It was a French finals for that, and how do you pronounce that? I don't know. Blizes won over A-Rock. So congratulations to him, and final take-home prize of $32,500, which is nothing to sneeze at. That's nice. And actually, it was kind of interesting because I was reading about him a little bit. And so last year it was he was doing okay, not great. But the real goal for this year was to make the top 8 so he can get into all these tournaments and stuff like that. Not only did he get in, he actually won. So congratulations.
Heck yeah.
Also, this weekend is the first matchup for the Overwatch League. So this weekend we have tournaments in New York City. NYXL is hosting, and also Arlington, Texas, which is the Outlaws, right? So, so that should be pretty good.
I was a little bit privy to what's going on in New York next week. It's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
Got
any secrets?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be good. And
Well,
I'm a little bit. That's like the only reason like I wanted to stay a little longer in New York because I wanted to see it IRL, but it's fine.
Sure. Well, in New York, it's going to be Toronto Defiant, Paris Eternal, NYXL, of course, and London Spitfire and Boston. And then in Texas, it's going to be the Glads, the Titans, the Valiant, the Fuel, and the Shock. So that'll be
it's
pretty
gonna
cool.
be great. I'm hardcore into Toronto Defiant. Like, this is it.
Yeah, and it's going to be weird to see how this works with the double hosting type of thing.
Yeah.
And I know that they're doing this every weekend where it's going to be 2 places are hosting, I think, except for 1 week, where it's kind of like everybody goes to Paris. But it should be fairly interesting to see how this plays out. I'm really looking forward to it. So I don't know.
Another new frontier.
I'm just
Every
glad.
year is-
I'm just glad that the season is starting. I've been missing my
Yes.
esports.
Me too.
Well, now you get it full time.
Yes. Do what you love, kids.
That's right. That's right. Anything else on esports? I think that's it.
I would just like to say that they are awesome.
Yes, they are awesome. So once again, I'm gonna play. Let's see. I'm gonna play this. There we go. Because we're gonna get out of here.
Wait,
What?
stop the music.
What?
One sec. I just want to commandeer this podcast for a second.
Oh,
I can
boy.
do that
All right.
because I'm technically, you made me partner a couple years ago and I never told anybody because I didn't want to sound like I was the favorite, but clearly I am.
Sure. Sure.
So,
Obviously you are.
driving me across the country and everything. But I just want to take this opportunity to just say that I probably won't be able to do Blizzard content creation anymore outside of anything official that I get to do. So that means podcasts, especially, and that means Lagging Balls. That means this show. That means guesting on other shows. That means it means a lot of stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm going anywhere. I can still stream. I'm still going to be on social media. But I just, without getting too much into it here, just wanted to thank everybody for following me for so long. And I want to thank you, Pat, for taking me on so many years ago, even though you didn't really know me that well. Now I guess you really do.
I know you
but,
way too well now. I think maybe that
way
might-
too well,
might be
yes.
part of the thing.
But yeah, and how sorry I am that that this had to happen now when we just scored and poached Stats, because I've been really enjoying the show with you, Stats, and getting to know you and just being your friend. And I hope that the three of us can do something in the future. And I don't know. I didn't think about what I was going to say before I said it, but I know that I do want to say thank you to everyone who supported me. And I want to tell everybody that if you have a dream and you do want to do something, it's going to be really, really, really difficult to achieve it. It's just going to be. But don't let that stop you from doing it anyway. Just realize that it's going to be tough. Realize that you're going to have to make changes and sacrifices, and realize that it's going to break you over and over and over again. But
Yep.
you can't stop because it won't happen if you stop, which obviously, you know, but
Right.
that's what I've learned. It
Sure.
only took like almost 6 years and it almost completely obliterated my entire life, but I did it.
Well, and
so can you too.
so one of the things that I did along the way, just to toot my own horn here for a second, when you got, what was it? We got press passes one year, and you got a press pass, and you were like all hyped, right? You're like, oh my god, I got a press pass! I can't believe it. This is amazing.
What happened was you had me on the show a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then you needed somebody to use your press badge at BlizzCon that year because you were going to be on stage.
Because I had talent. Yeah.
You were talent.
Yeah, that's right.
So you asked me to take your press badge and do some interviews, and we hardly knew each other. And like that was insane.
Yeah, that was fun. And then the next year you got your own, and then I was like, next year you might even be like talent for the MDI or something like that.
You called it.
And then you got the Australia gig, which was a surprise to I think everybody.
Yeah, especially me.
But you got that, and so it was kind of like a talent badge, right? And then did I mention that you would be working for Blizz? Or maybe it was when you applied. I was like, you're going to be working for Blizz.
No, you called it. You knew all along.
Yeah. So that's the other flip of this coin is that if your friend
Patrick is psychic.
yes, I'm psychic, but if your friend has a dream, push him toward it. Why not?
Yep.
Especially if it's something totally attainable, like working at the gaming's finest company.
Finest company.
Sure.
But that's true. Like, I couldn't have done it without your support. And, if your friend's trying to do something, help them do it, because then they'll do it.
Right. And so if you have any complaints about WoW Esports whatsoever, just, look up Thyst03 on the internet.
Yeah.
That is going to do it, unless you have something else.
That's it.
Okay. Stats, do you have anything else that you want to say?
I love you both. Thyst, I'm super proud of you. Pat, I don't know many people who would take someone across the country to help finalize the piece of their dreams. So you guys are amazing.
Well,
congratulations.
Thank you. And it really is not a big deal when Thyst and I are buds. So it's kind of like no skin off my nose to go help her across the country if I have the time and the energy, which I barely had the energy for. But
a little bit left.
It was just enough to do one show with you before you have to go away.
Stop. Stop.
Forever.
That's not how you sound.
Forever.
Forever?
No, well, from the show. Probably.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Probably forever. So I guess that's it for this CTR. It's weird. It's a weird out. But if you want to check out the show, go over to converttoraid.com. That's where we have the audio, the video, all that stuff. And Twitch chat for those guys that are bringing us around with you. IRL, thank you so much. Stats, as always, thank you. And I look forward to working with you in the future to figure out the direction for this show. And to Thyst, thank you for everything.
You're not welcome.
What? Not welcome? I was gearing up towards a tearful goodbye, but I guess that's not going to be a thing.
Don't do it, Patrick.
Just one single tear, just right down the nose. That's it. I seriously want to thank you for making this show better. Maybe a little dirty, but overall, you've really put your footprint into the show right up into its butt. Okay, for Stats, for Thyst, and myself, thank you guys so much for joining us, and some of us will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.